The Real Estate Story with Adrian Butera.
Hi everybody and welcome once again to The Real Estate Story. Here coming to you live from my daughter's bedroom, the Real Estate Podcast. Excited to have you here all today, excited and delighted. I've got a very special guest, a good friend, Michael Sanz, someone I've known for a couple of decades at least. Probably work out that it's even longer than that. Michael's joining me today. We're going to get some insights into property management and some inspirational growth training around the globe. Real excited to have him along here today. We look forward to sharing the story and hope you get some great takeaways here this afternoon. Coming to you once again live downtown Melbourne, stage 4 lockdown. And I've got to say, it's a pretty good day outside today. I probably could lose this jumper, but that's for another moment in the day. Michael Sanz, welcome, Michael, here with me. Welcome along, mate.
Having me. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolute pleasure. Many times I get to see you doing live Facebook Live, and you're spruiking and talking about property management or other training. And now I get to have you on my show, which is great. I get to see you, and others get to see you through The Real Estate Story.
Yeah, no, it's great, and definitely learning a lot at the moment, being in lockdown and dealing with restrictions, turning them into positives where we can.
You were saying to me before we went on air, that the challenge of having kids at home. You obviously, yourself, your wife, Kat, you're busy at home, but of course, not only busy at work, busy managing 3 children.
Yeah, so 3 kids under 6, all at home. Kat's been a blessing. She basically controls the house, and it's definitely got its challenges. I'm sure everyone, with their kids has their challenges, and our oldest doesn't like doing homeschooling. So she's learning life lessons now.
Yeah, why would you like that anyway? Why would you like being taught by your parents? Homeschooling must be challenging.
Yeah, very, very challenging too. Like Rosalia has dyslexia, so I'm not equipped to even teach a child that young how to read, let alone, But no, like for example, with Rosalia, she's very tech savvy, so she's learning how to code. She's got coding applications and everything. This is a 6-year-old.
Of course, she is. That's what they do, these 6-year-olds these days. Amazing. Just to see that we're dealing with that. Adults need the resilience to deal with it, let alone the kids. So it's fantastic to hear. Michael, I'm really keen to know more. I mean, whilst we've known each other for at least a couple of decades, possibly more, today I want our listeners to learn more about your role in the inspirational growth training business that you're involved in, some of the talking that you do across the globe, and we're going to grab some insights from that, I hope, that we can share with some landlords on today's episode. Tell us about IGT.
Yeah, so we have a company called IGT, 2 business partners, Darren Hunter and Dennis Yusuf. They're probably 2 of the most prominent trainers in the real estate property management space. IGT has been going for about 3 years now, and I guess the basis of IGT is to help lift the benchmark for real estate property management professionals globally. Well, I guess mainly America, Australia, the UK, and New Zealand. We are quite fortunate that we get to meet and experience how real estate is done in so many different platforms across the world. As you know, like I've been in real estate for a long time, mainly property management, so I've been very heavy in there. And we really, really love seeing the industry, as do you, Adrian. Like we like seeing the industry excel, and I guess make not only their experience working within the industry next level, but also like how they engage with their customers and their clients, and just making that whole experience a delightful experience.
And I want to know more about that, but I just want to put the brakes on for a second and go back. So you're travelling America, obviously throughout Australia, and the UK as well. I'm not sure I realised that you travelled to the UK. I've seen a few Facebook posts in the US, but in the UK, and you've got 3 children under 6. You're clearly married to Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for insinuating that I'm Superman. I get no. I mean, Kat, like I said, she runs the household. She's
well done.
Magnificent. And so we do a lot of face-to-face. We do a lot of presentations. I've been blessed to be booked as a keynote speaker across, the UK, America, New Zealand, Australia. For us, being face to face with people, we get far more benefit. So to the people that we work with.
Obviously, some challenging times at the moment. We're all in lockdown. We're stuck here. We can't get out of our house, let alone get out of the state, let alone get out of the country. But when you did, give us some insights. So what can you share with us? And this is a big question. What can you share with us with some of those learnings, some of those experiences that you've picked up from those continents, and what have you brought here? I mean, we want it to ourselves. What have you got there?
Yeah, definitely. So I think if we were to kind of break it down as far as property management goes, we find that Australia is far superior across all the countries as far as property management. We experience plus ones, like positives from each country. So for example, the UK, how they engage with their customers, their clients vocally is superior than Australia, New Zealand, and America. These countries like America and the UK have access to all this amazing tech. I got involved in virtual reality, like 360 technology for our landlords significant time ago, more than 5 years ago. And that was from abroad. They weren't using it abroad for their real estate. We brought it back here to Australia and we were using it here.
So virtual reality is in like the goggles.
The goggles, the full 360 experience.
Yep.
So like, with our company, we were the first property management based company globally to fully incorporate and do it in-house. There were people that were doing it for real estate agencies, but we did it all in-house. So these were things that we brought back from overseas. And again, Adrian, this is so that the consumer would have a better experience when dealing with the real estate agency to find properties and make it more accessible. And I guess how that benefits the landlord and the clients out there, they want to get the highest rent possible, lease their property in the fastest amount of time to the best possible tenant. So what we're able to learn from abroad is like how to use the technology in our favor to find the best tenant, which would give us the greatest possible reach, being able to present their investment, like their most loved investment, in the best light to achieve the best rent. So these are all things we achieved overseas and brought back to Australia, and then we were coaching and training on it.
So you learn these technologies over there and realise that we can use them here in a better way because we do grasp that technology. Have you found that generally around Australian property managers do grasp that technology?
No, I'd probably say that 5% of Australian property managers.
5%, only 5.
Yeah, even like with COVID, when we thought, great, this is amazing, everyone's going to switch towards video and make their life seamless. Some did, but they've kind of clawed that back a little bit. Well, what we've seen. But Adrian, that's just a reflection of the industry in general. There are some amazing real estate agents out there that understand that customer service from, their business is essentially customer service. And I guess landlords and property owners out there need to be looking for agencies that are forward thinking and really customer service based and not transactional based.
So when you say customer service based, that's a huge word, right? Americans are writing to customer service. Australians are pretty good at it. And, there's a lot of businesses out there that are looking at NPS, Net Promoter Scores, for those that weren't aware. But, so they're all really important things to bring into your business. But what does it really mean? What is customer service for a landlord? Because really, they just want their money. What do they want from their agent?
There's a percentage of landlords that just want their money. They don't want to have any real contact with the agency, and you'll find that those type of agents those type of owners are typically price sensitive owners, and they just want to get the lowest price fee charged to them, and the rent and some consistencies going. But then you look at what do we want? We want communication. So majority of clients out there, they want communication. And what I found is even the ones that say they don't really want the communication, they crave it. They're going to tell you they don't want it, but they're craving it. If they don't get a statement from you, an email from you, a phone call from you, if somebody else does, like if a competitor calls up that landlord and starts communicating, that's going to be different for them. They're going to say, wow, I don't get this with my current agent.
So communication, it's so easy for you and I to talk about communication. We understand that communication is really important. We can say that. Why doesn't it happen?
I think I'll preface it with this. I think owners out there need to understand the workings and the going on of a real estate agency. And a lot of property managers are caught with so much administration, and it's not really a case of they manage too many properties. It's a case of they're trying to do the best thing that they can for the clients that they've got, and that's administration, it's inspections, it's on the road. And I guess the property manager doesn't feel like they have time to communicate with the owners. From any office, any office, there should be KPIs around your property managers speaking to your clients, right? Like every month, every 3 months, there should be multiple different touch points of communication, because when that owner reflects on the last 12 months, they've heard from you, and it hasn't just been about maintenance, it hasn't been about a statement, like all the things that are drab and dreary. And again, people now start to compare, because we're global, we're international as a race, we're comparing customer service and glamorous items now with what we use. Like, I mean, Apple, you've got like IBM, you've got all these products out there where the customer service is superior, like the front end is superior. And I guess when you've got your largest asset being managed by someone, you don't hear from them, you don't get any benefits from them, there's nothing there at all, then you're not forming part of their own culture.
Yeah, look, I understand what you mean. I mean, you get calls from banks to say, "You happy? Would you like to upgrade your loan?" I've had a call, I think this week, from American Express saying, "Are you aware of their insurance products?" So there are two examples I can think of right now. If you give me enough time, I think of others. I certainly get phone calls from a car dealership saying, come in for service. That's probably a no-brainer. If I need it, I've got to do it. But we don't do it in real estate property management as the same as those businesses I just talked about. And the roadblock seems to be that we do. The property managers do get busy, but the importance of just a touch base is really powerful. I think really powerful. I know in the first lockdown, we conducted a Zoom meeting with every single one of our landlords. Now, they didn't have to come, so there were certainly several hundred that didn't come, but we had hundreds that attended bulk Zoom meetings. And the power in that was they just got to see each other. They didn't talk to each other, but they got to see each other. And there was some real power in us having them all in the same room and then just giving them some what we called COVID insights, particularly and obviously for property management. What examples of communication, I've just given you mine of Zoom, what other examples of communication have you seen from around the globe that's been a real winner in your eyes?
Some real simple ways to communicate with your owners effectively, and I guess all landlords should be willing and accepting of this, is video text messages. Like a simple video text message, I guess after you've done an inspection or just for no reason, you could be sitting in an office and go through 50 owners and just say, "Hey, it's Michael from IGT. No reason for this message. Just want to touch base, say hello. If there's anything that I can be doing for you at all, please don't hesitate to reach out." Right?
Quick video. Is it customized? Do you recommend do it customized, or you just send that many out?
I would customize it.
Yeah, right.
It's
Very
only
powerful.
10 seconds, right? And again, the idea is from an agency, you want to create raving fans. Like you want your owner to be raving fans and then tell everyone else out there all about you. But from an owner looking for a real estate agency, I guess, that communication is important. My advice to any owner out there looking for a real estate agency, don't make your decision to select an agency based on price, right? If an agent is cheaper than another agency, that's not a reflection of the service that they're providing. It's where they feel that they are placed in the marketplace. So when you are looking to work with an agent, the important things are, what's your wish list? How do you want to be communicated with? What type of tenant do you want? And remember, ask questions like, what is the vacancy rate like in the office? What's the arrears rate like in an office? Because that's a reflection of the person or the team that have put tenants into a property. If they've got high arrears.
What about right now, Michael? So there's a lot of agents in Australia, and I'll say particularly Victoria, that they've got large arrears, and that is because of tenants that are struggling to pay rent, and that's all respectful. So what should a landlord right now, because there may be landlords out there right now that are frustrated and they're just saying to themselves, is now the time to change agent? That's probably my first question. And my second question, if they decide, yes, now is the time to change agent, what should they look for in an agent right now, given that money's hard to collect?
Yeah, it's spot on too. I think if any owners out there are thinking about changing agents now, they're placed for two reasons. One, They weren't satisfied with the real estate agency to start with, and now they've got doubts. The second reason is I don't think that agency is performing with communication, because a lot of owners aren't aware what's happening with the Residential Tenancies Act. They're not aware that the tenants are how hard they're suffering. They might be in some level, but a lot of real estate agents that we've seen, they may update their owner once, and then maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks later, they'll go to fill them in again. But again, we're in a critical time, and a lot of owners just want someone to hold their hand and let them know. And it doesn't have to be a phone call all the time. I'm going to say this, Adrian, don't email your landlord something important. There's less than a 20% open rate on an email for real estate related and less than 2% click-through rate. So during this time where you have owners that may be thinking about changing agents, if there's something important, don't send it via email. Pick up the phone or send a text message. Over 93% of people will check a text message within 2 minutes, right? And 95 within 30 seconds. It's something crazy like that, right? So right now, especially right now, Adrian, when you've got owners that are considering, communicate and get in front of their eyes as fast as possible. For those owners out there that aren't getting education and communication from your agent, if you don't want to give them another opportunity, I would be going on to just to type in and find out local estate agents near you. So for example, West Footscray, type in property management company near me, and then go and assess the social strategy of a lot of these real estate agents and see who is actually letting people know on a broad platform what's going on, what's happening with COVID, how is it affecting you, what are they doing to make sure that they're minimizing rent arrears, what are they doing to make sure that the properties are being viewed during this time.
Yeah, really powerful to keep people informed. But I love what you just said about the whole, text messaging versus an email, because you are so right. The response rate to text message, that in my own experience, put the data aside, in my own experience, if I want something to happen, I got a higher chance of making it happen quickly with a text message than I do a phone call, than I do an email. That's just my realities. Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah, and people hide behind the email far too much. So if there's something critical or important, especially right now, video, text message, call them if they don't pick up the call. Now, we're talking about tech a little bit also. Please note, if you're an Android or an iPhone, if you have an iPhone and you go to send a video message to someone on an Android, it's going to go through blurry and they're not going to be able to see it properly. Our suggestion is when you go to send a text message on an iPhone, it'll be blue if it's an iPhone or green if it's an Android. Look them up in WhatsApp. Okay, so if they're green, look them up in WhatsApp, and then the message will send through clear.
Interesting. That's a little bit of a hack. That's good. Tell me, are you an iPhone or an Android?
I'm iPhone. Who isn't? So I'm sorry for those out there that are Android.
What happened to BlackBerry? Do they still exist?
I think they do exist in the political landscape because they can't be hacked.
Right. Yeah. There you go. That's interesting. So. What's going on in your business right now? You're obviously here you're in West Footscray. You live in West Footscray. You're a Westie, so welcome. That's great. But you're not working at the moment. Are you spending a lot of time on Zoom?
Yeah, but we do a lot of our training on Zoom as it is. So when we're not actually traveling, we're on Zoom anyway. One of the things that I'm enjoying at the moment, I think I mentioned the other week, is we're doing strategic market assessments on agencies across the world, and which means that we're doing secret shopping. We go really deep and we look at the customer service experience of a real estate agency and what they offer to their clients. And I'm talking about things like, who answers the phone? When they answer the phone, can they deliver the value to a client, right away? So that's a project that we're doing in Australia, New Zealand, UK, and America. And then at the moment, we're putting together an event, like an online event too, for property managers in those countries also, because I think property managers are neglected.
So just going back to that first bit, so you're doing that mystery shopping. Can you give us an insight into what your findings to date? So what is it like when you ring an office? What is it like when you chat or phone or email these offices?
Some really interesting experiences. Okay, so as an example, we had an office in Sydney, and they said, Michael, we're the most expensive agency in the area, and we turn away about 100 to 150 prospects a year, like minimum, clearly. And so we did a mystery shopping for them, and we found out that whilst they are like one of the best well-run operations in New South Wales, their fees were exactly the same as everyone else in the marketplace.
Oh, really?
So they turned away so much business because they didn't know what was going on in their marketplace. What we're finding is, in general, a lot of agencies don't answer the phone, don't return phone calls. The person who is like the front line in the office can't say anything about the service at all. And as you know, Adrian, like when new business calls, they might not just be calling you, they might be calling 3 or 4 other people that are on their list. And whoever can give them something now, be that a pre-listing kit, some type of value right away, that's the buy-in. If the person who calls and contacts doesn't get anything from that office at all, they're not even on the list. Like unless you call them back like within the hour or 2 hours, you won't even get a look in.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And I try and instill in my team that think of the world these days. Think of when you need to make a call. Now let's, whether you used Apple as an example or Bunnings or JB Hi-Fi. Could you imagine ringing JB Hi-Fi and wanting to know the price of a 44-inch television? And the person that answered the phone said, look, I'm not sure, but I'll get someone to call you back. Really? I expect you to put me through to someone straight away that knows the answer. And I think the same is said for so many industries. And when you do need to call someone back, you've got a really small window. That's our belief. You've got a really tiny window.
It's a very small window. So, Adrian, the best way to help this, now, how are people going to find you as an agency? Well, they're probably going to go into Google, and they are probably going to type in property management company or real estate company near me. What happens there is Google's going to push up a number of agencies based on reviews and how accessible they are to the marketplace. There are agents out there, Adrian, that on their Google page have open from like 9:30 to 4:30 because they don't want people coming into the office. Here's the problem. If someone gets home from work and they type in a property management company near me because they want to try and find an agency to look after their property and they're closed, Google isn't going to push them as first and foremost because Google want to give their clients the most direct access without roadblocks.
You got me nervous now. I don't know what we do. I need to check that.
And then what happens is, right, if you've got video content, Google are also going to push that up. But also bear in mind, people are using YouTube as a search platform too. But we're talking about Google. Now with Google, you can actually put your own personalized company photos on the Google page. So before they ring you, they get to know you, like you, and then form some level of trust towards you. This is a free platform, by the way, for those who haven't heard of Google or YouTube out there. Now, the reviews on your Google page too, so many property management companies don't reply to them, right? They leave them unanswered or they'll give a thumbs up. Please, everyone listening out here today, make sure that whatever review you get, you reply, good, bad, indifferent, and don't have an argument online, but make sure you reply. Now, again, with Google, they're going to type in, find me a property management company near me, that you hopefully, that the agency will come up. If you have reviews less than 4 stars, you probably won't come up, and you won't also show up in a trust factor rating. And now Google have show me ratings between greater than 4 and greater than 4.5. Wow. So Google are going to push the most favorable ones to you.
Yeah, really powerful. Really powerful.
So make sure if you have reviews less than 3, less than 4, fix it.
You got some work to do.
Ask them for reviews.
Yeah, really.
And we can go on and on about this, right? Like this is.
I get it. And, a lot of it's simple stuff. A lot of it we've heard through many speakers before, but we got to get this right. Now let's put yourself in the shoes of the prospective landlord. Should he or she be looking at the Google reviews? Should he or she be making inquiries, I don't know, late at night and see how quickly they respond? Is that all part of that investigation?
Yeah, so any prospective landlord out there looking to engage a property management company, one, read the reviews, right? Are they argumentative? Just because someone has a negative review does not mean that it's necessarily bad, because sometimes tenants don't get a property. Sometimes tenants get evicted from properties. Sometimes there are issues, and unfairly or rightly so, the agency can be given a negative review. Read how they've addressed it, because the issue may not actually be as severe as that 1-star review. So read how they've addressed it, okay? But consistently, if they're a good agency, they will be over 4. And yes, they're going to have some negative reviews. Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. definitely see what videos you can find, how to rent out property, what should I be looking for in a property management company, which are all videos that every agency should do anyway. So they have got that information there, and send them a message on their email, on the contact us. See how long it takes for them to come back to you. If they haven't come back to you within a couple of business hours, and you're chasing them, look, that may be an issue. I mean, look, let COVID pass, because there's a lot of numerous communication issues with COVID. But outside of that, would you be forgiving? I don't know. There's a lot of agencies out there that would respond.
Yeah, I think that's a really big one, because I think people should be able to test us the same way a tenant can test us. And so, I'm really keen. I'm really keen to have some guarantees in place within our business. Response time to an email, response time to a phone call. Firstly, I hope they answer it straight away. And the one thing that isn't in our guarantee, which now, after this conversation, needs to be in our guarantee, that is a response time on a text message. Because if we're going to send them, we need to be able to respond to them on those that we receive as well. So there's some really important points there in being, I guess, in being shopped, and things that we need to adopt as professionals, which is really important. So if we were to draw a simple graph right now, the property management businesses are all quite challenged, and they're sort of heading down on this graph. They're challenged by time, they're challenged by COVID, tenants' arrears are going up, so they're in some challenging times. But like lots of successful graphs, they have a dip every now and again, but they spike back up. When this does spike back up, and I have no clue when that's going to be, it could be in 6 weeks, could be in 6 months, could be in a couple of years. But when it does spike back up, what are those landlords going to look for? They've been through a tough trot. They've probably reduced rent. They've probably held some reduced rentals for a while. What should they be looking for? And I want to park communication. What should they be looking for as a real standout amongst agencies to gravitate towards when we get out of this COVID hole?
It's a really good question. So COVID aside, we're outside of the pandemic now. Agencies, owners for one, don't look for an agent based on price. If you find the cheapest agent out there, you need to really take a step back and see, well, if we're paying them such a little amount, is there room for remuneration for that actual property management company? Is there room for training? Is there room for adequate systems, technology, and growth for that business? Because the more you squeeze an agency down, that means they do need to become more volume-based, and they may not have the time or adequate resources to look after you. Don't judge an agency based on the size and market share, okay? I know many agencies that are quite large that have too many properties outside of COVID in general for rent, and there are smaller, more custom boutique agencies that don't have as many properties, but they have lower vacancy and really well-run property portfolios. If I was an owner, I would be looking at how low the vacancy rate is. So we're out of COVID, Adrian. So yeah. I'm looking at how low the vacancy rate is. And also at their arrears. Because at the end of the day, Adrian, if I was an owner, I want to make sure that my agency is finding me the best possible tenant at the highest possible rent in the fastest possible time frame. If the property sits vacant, every week it's 2% that the owner is losing off their income for the year.
That's a lot of money. Because in some cases they're empty for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, so there's an agency out there that can actually show you a proof statement. So every agency, so Mr. and Mrs. Landlord out there, every single real estate agency can show you a proof statement, which you can ask for, that they can get off realestate.com. And that shows you how long it takes for them to rent their average property compared to the marketplace. And if they can show you that they're renting their properties out 3 times or 4 times faster than other competitors in the industry, and all the other points to their business look great, then you know that on average you're going to be saving 2 or 3 weeks rent every year, every time there's a turnover.
It's a lot of money. We're talking thousands, over $1,000 in our marketplace anyway.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
really powerful. That's a really wonderful point. A proof statement, realestate.com. I got to pull this out, do I? Is it available to the public?
Not to the public, only to the real estate, onto the office. You can only collect your data. And, and I think, like Adrian, any business, and we see people do their points of difference all the time, and they all say the same thing. No one proves it. So we would have in our listing kit, we used to rent properties 4 times faster, have more than twice the amount of people looking at our properties than anyone in the suburbs that we were listed in. And we would take that to listings and show owners, say, look, this is actual proof of what we're doing. And it's irrefutable unless REA has bad data, which, we're not saying they do. It's irrefutable, and owners want that comfort. So if you can prove to them, or if you can just make an assumption, if someone makes an assumption or you can prove, I know who I would go with.
Yeah, really powerful stuff. That's exciting. I'm pleased to hear that. It's been very insightful, Michael. Now, I think we've really covered some awesome things. Now, I got 2 things I need to confess. No, one thing I need to confess. And then I'm going to ask a little bit about one of your hobbies. But you were talking about virtual goggles before, and I think you've talked to me over the years about, Adrian, you've got to get into that. Well, I've got to say, as a result of the stage 1 lockdown, I put an order in for an Oculus Quest, and it arrived. And I've got to say that this injury here that I have been to see the doctor with is a Beat Saber injury. I was playing it too aggressively, trying to beat my kids' score, and needless to say, they win. I don't need to try and beat that score anymore. They're the winners. So I am giving this virtual reality a go. I must say, we film a lot of properties in sales in VR, and that's amazing. I put the goggles on and I'm walking through the house. That's just phenomenal. Will there ever be a day that everybody has an Oculus in their house?
I think so. I think, like, as real estate agencies and property managers also need to remember that just because your property is $200 a week or $1,000 a week, every home is someone else's castle. So there is absolutely no reason why, as property managers and owners out there, that we should not be treating the $200 a week property exactly the same as $1,000. Because the better you can make that $200 a week property look and feel special, you're going to get a tenant that's going to look and make that property feel special to them too. It's their home. Adrian, I've got about 100 VR goggles that I can give to the guys that are listening to this today. We'll drop it off to your office after COVID, and if you want to give that out to your landlords that come on board when they do some VR, they're sitting in my storage, so I'll give you that box when we're out of COVID.
I'm going to ask why another time, but that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Now let's park real estate. I want to talk hobbies, because you've got one that is outstanding in my view. It's not going to appeal to everybody, but you passionately make salami and cure meats, and you do it so passionately that you've won awards on making salami. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think we're about 10 years into making salami. A friend and myself, we just did it because we wanted to have more control over what we were eating, and we all love cured meats and everything. And so we started this passion. We started first on YouTube, and then we bought like the Italian books and everything, and learned. And for the last 9 years, we grow our own pigs on a dairy farm, and they're basically free range. And we break them down every year ritualistically, and we use the entire animal, and we make salami, bacon, sausages, capicola, pancetta, like literally everything related to the pig. We have premium rare breed pigs, so it's good quality. And when we do this, because we know that, like, there's no sawdust in our sausages. So for example, sausages that I would give, I could tell you which leg it came from. I can tell you the exact fat content that was in there, the exact spices that went in there. The ones that you've got there have a real natural mountain pepper that was sourced from the land that go in there, and the fat that when you render that down is tremendous. We were number 1 in the country for a while with salami making. We're number 2 at the moment.
What's happened? Has someone just lined you up and said we've got to get them, or did you drop your game?
Oh, we had a bad batch, and that when it cured, to us it wasn't at a satisfactory level, and we shouldn't have even ranked like top 10 at all. Like, we shouldn't have, and the fact that we were second doesn't denounce the guy that won by 1 point. By 1 point.
No hard feelings.
By 1 point. I think like we should have either won or not placed at all. But for us it's a passion. Like,
I'm sure it was still outstanding. Outstanding.
Well, the judges thought so, but to lose by 1 point. But like the kids get involved. Like, they're only young, but like they'll come and they'll have a bit of a play around and everything. And I've got Miguel now, who's only almost 2. I'm hoping that he'll kind of join that tradition that we've instilled. but I get to catch up with a mate. I'm in real estate, he's in medicine. We get to drink throughout the whole weekend. It's a really, really great experience. Really great experience.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. It was a big part of my life as a child, giving a Italian family. My grandparents did it, and I have really great memories. Sadly, when they stopped doing it, no one picked it up, and it still remains as a memory. And I still think I'm young enough and fit enough that maybe, just maybe, I'll take it back up again one day soon. Michael, it's been a pleasure having you on The Real Estate Story. Thank you for your insights in property management tech, come from all around the world, and you've brought it to us here in the inner west of Melbourne. You've brought it to us here live on the Real Estate Story podcast. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap things up. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for attending The Real Estate Story.
The Real Estate Story brought to you by Compton Green.